Thank you for joining me. Cindy here from CLB Craft Creations, and here is another card in our holiday card series. This should be card 12. We're featuring the Wondrous Wreath set, which is in the annual catalog. It came out in last year's holiday catalog, and they carried it through to this year's annual catalog. And I wanted to do something using the set. So let's get started. I'm going to start with my card base, which is cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment from the stamp set, which is the Happy Wonderful Christmas in Real Red. I'm going to stamp that to the bottom. Stamp that bottom right. Okay, we can move that out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and just set the card base aside for right now because we don't really need it this moment. And then I'm going to bring in another piece of Whisper White, which is cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to bring in the largest piece of the wreath. And like all of our 2-step, 3-step stamping, they have these indicators here. So this one's a little bit more obvious than our current stamp sets, but that helps you line up the other pieces in this set. So I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz for my base layer, and because this is so large, I'm just going to bring my ink pad to the stamp, and I want to make sure, one, that this gets really nicely inked, but I'm going to wipe off this little piece down here at the bottom, just because I don't want that getting on my card. Okay, so now, and I'm just going to center that right in the middle of my piece of Whisper White. And stamp done. Now, if I remember correctly, this stamp set for me, I had one little spot that never seemed to stamp very well. So you could definitely use a Stampin' Pierce mat or a mouse pad, something to help give you a very solid image. Now see right there, like I said, I knew that there was one spot in my stamp set that for some reason I think that it must not be level with the rest of the stamp, and I didn't return it. Stampin' Up! Would definitely return it, especially if it's still in the current catalog. Anyway, so that's that piece, and then I'm going to go in now with Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to stamp the second layer. And again, here's my little tab, so I know that when I go on here, that as long as I've got it in that direction, I'm going to be able to find where I need to stamp that on top. And again, this one's large, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my ink to my stamp. Okay, and my Mossy Meadow is very, very juicy, so alright, so lining that up, again, you can see right through them, so it's easier to line up, and I may have to get my head in here because I can't see very well. Okay, I think it did okay. Alright, just give that a second, let that ink work into the paper. Okay, and I'm going to pull that up. Voila! Oh my gosh, I think that that's probably the best I've actually ever stamped those. They look like they're perfectly lined up. I like when that happens. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I've got my Pear Pizzazz marker here. I don't have my Pear Pizzazz. Oh, here it is. Got my, oh, it's not it. Okay, I don't actually have my marker here with me. I'm just going to go in and actually try and color in. Oh, here's the Pear Pizzazz. Just try and color in just a little bit so it's not quite as obvious. So, not perfect, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, no one's going to see that. If I'd actually used my mat, then I would have gotten a better impression on that one little spot. So, okay. Now, the berries, which I need to do in Real Red. Again, it's got the same little indicator that helps you line up where you need to put these, but these are pretty random anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to make sure there's no ink on that little tab. Okay, and then again, because I know that I need to have that down here, that these are going to line up where they should. And again, they're so random that I don't know that it even matters for this layer, but we've got it, so why don't we use it? Okay, so now our berries are on there. And you could take it one step further and actually cut this out, but for my design for this card, I do not want to cut it out. Okay, so then this is going to actually layer onto a piece of Real Red cardstock, which is cut at 4x4. And I'm just going to go ahead and lay that down with some snail, or just some regular adhesive here. Bring in my ATG. Okay, and then I'm just going to center that on my card. Okay, and then I can bring my card base back in, and I'm going to pop this piece up dimensionals. And because this is a fairly large piece, I am actually going to put 5. I'm going to put 1 in each corner and then 1 in the middle. Okay, get those done, and then we have one other thing to do, and we will be done. Okay, and thankfully this can go any way you want. So now I know that that one little spot right there was my little issue with my stamp. So I'm going to put that down here, because what I'm going to do next is bring in a piece of baker's twine, and I'm going to put that right there in the corner. It's not really a corner, but right there at the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to put that on with a glue dot, which is stuck to my fingers. I'm going to put it right here. So I covered it up anyway. And then I'm going to trim my little tails, because they're a little bit longer than I wanted. And I just tied that, you know, obviously off camera. Just tied it as just a regular bow. And then if you wanted to stamp the inside, you could easily stamp, the May happy moments and cherished memories surround you with joy this season. You could do that as well, but I'm going to handwrite a note in there, so I'm going to leave that just as is. So there is our 12th card project, and I hope that you liked it. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment, and I will see you next week. Thanks, guys.